Hey loves, welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Elomo, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how to acquire property in Cameroon, and I'm going to be niching down on land in particular because that's where I have knowledge in, right? So yes, please pardon my voice in this video. I have a cold, so you're going to be getting my voice fluctuating from time to time. Just know I have a cold, but we'll still move regardless. Okay, so yes, I studied law at the university, and there was a course called titled land law. Family members, what is written in the books, it's not what is happening in the field. I just want to put this out here. So I'm here trying to give you guys the practical steps on how to acquire a land certificate, what you see in the field, because what we studied in school, what is written in the books, two different things. The lecturer who was even taking that course for us told us at the time that what she's giving us is not what is actually followed. So yeah, I just want to save my subscribers and especially my viewers in the diaspora who are watching me from the abroad, and they always send people down here in Cameroon to follow up their stuff for them, to acquire land for them, to buy land from them. And once the people tell them you have to do this, you have to do this, they feel like you want to, somehow scam them also, because they believe in the strict application of what is written on the books. But fam, trust me, I'm here to bridge that gap for you so that the person who's following your stuff in Cameroon doesn't deal you, and you yourself do not get double dealed in the process of acquiring a legit land certificate. So if you want to know how that goes, what happens on the field, and before I even say anything, I know some people are going to be like, Small, what do you want to tell us about acquiring land? Please, Small, don't be sick. I know I have experience in the practical steps because my dad was the regional delegate of state property and land tenure before he retired, and so somehow I just got involved in the whole land stuff. You know how it is here. You have things under your name, you have to go to the ministry and sign, work with the surveyor and all those stuff. That's how I found myself actually like doing this land thing practical. And because I had prior knowledge from school, what was written in the books, I could really see what the lecturer was talking about, that those are two different things. What we study in school and what we meet in the field, two different things. So that's what I'm coming here to do for you guys, to bridge that gap for you, because come on, because I love you all and I don't want you guys to suffer. I want you to have value for your money. Okay, so if that's what you want to hear, or if this video sounds interesting to you, definitely keep on watching. Now the first thing I have here is actually notes on what they gave us in school on how to obtain a land certificate. This is it here, written conditions for obtaining a land certificate, and you have here how to obtain land certificate. So this is what they give you as notes, the various steps. But fam, what's written here is not strictly applied on the field. So I just brought this out. I had to go and search this out to bring this out for you guys, so some of you understand where I'm coming from and you can be able to understand and flow with me as a ride. And equally here I have the laws functioning or governing the acquisitions of land in Cameroon. This is the English version, as you can see here. This is the English version. This is how it's supposed to look like. This is just a photocopied stuff for school purposes. This video is just for learning purposes, right? And so let me just open the first page for you guys. This is what you have here on the first page of this law. You have here the ordinance number, where all the laws came from, the ordinance number, and you have here the President of the Republic hereby obtains as follows, and you start having all the sections and all that stuff. So this is where you get all the laws, all the rules that govern the obtaining of land certificates in Cameroon. And equally here, just to show you guys what an original land copy looks like, this is what an original land copy would look like. So all I'm going to tell you guys is how to get this at the end of the day. That's what I want to share here, how you can actually obtain this original land certificate without being duped or double dealed, because some people actually buy land 3 times before they actually succeed in obtaining a land certificate legally. So yeah, I hope you get the memo now. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is how to actually acquire that piece of land before you even want to make a land certificate, right? Because you cannot want to make title or ownership over something which you haven't paid for. It doesn't work that way, right? So I just want to give you a few things to consider before you actually give out your money to somebody that you're buying land, because that's where the double dealing occurs. If the land has issues and it's complicated and you're maybe the fourth person to buy that land, trust me, obtaining an original land certificate is going to be as twice complicated as you buying that land that already has problems. Do you understand? Like you say, if the foundation of a house is faulty, definitely the whole building of that house is definitely going to be faulty. So that's why I'm going back to base, back to the acquisition, before telling you guys the actual process on how to obtain the land certificate. Now, before paying your money to anybody or to any demarcher, and fam, please don't let any demarcher put you under pressure and tell you, oh, this land, you see everything is okay with the land, just pay me sharp sharp. Do not let that pressure of the demarcher get into your head. Before you want to pay any money for any land, the first thing you have to do is to find out if that piece of land has a land certificate or not. Because if you find out if it has a land certificate, that's a different process. How you go about it is different, and if it doesn't have a land certificate, how you go about it is different. So the first thing you want to do is to find out if the piece of land you want to acquire has a land certificate already. Now, if you discover that the land has a land certificate, the next thing you're supposed to do, as in you, the buyer, is supposed to do, is to ask the owner to give you a copy of a certificate of ownership, or even a photocopy if they cannot get an original, right? Even a photocopy, they give it to you, and you now take it to the land registry and apply for ownership of land. Now, this is the step where it gets tricky, where they want to scam people, because the person who is selling to you can be like, oh, this thing I have, it is original, and would not want to give you a copy of that, so that, or the person might tell you that, oh, don't worry, I'm going to file for you, I'm going to take it to the land registry and I'm going to file it for you. Family members, do not accept. Okay, you get the copy yourself and take it to the land registry yourself, so that way you're sure that you have actually submitted it, and what is going to come out is going to be the original, right? Because the person might tell you, oh, don't worry, I'm going to submit for you, I'm going to apply for you, and the person never applies, and you go ahead to buy that land and you start having issues later on. Now, the purpose for taking it to the land registry and applying for a certificate of ownership is just to make sure that whatever the person presented to you is legit, that it is in the system. Do you understand? Because in Cameroon, people can fraud things, people can fake documents, you understand? People can fake everything. So you just want to make sure that this person who is selling you the land is the actual owner of the land, and the land certificate is an original copy and not one fake document cut in one backside in Kumba. You know, I hope you understand this point. The same way, like if you're applying for a school, let me just break it down. Like if you're applying for a school abroad and they tell you, oh, send me your GC results, and they send it back to the GCE board in Boya to find out if those results are actually legit, if that person actually had that number of papers, all those stuff from the system itself. Is the same thing you're trying to do here in the process of land, right? You just want to make sure that whatever the person has presented to you is a legit and true copy, because once it is fake from that beginning, once the person shows you a fake stuff from that beginning and you go ahead to pay the money, fam, you're doomed. I mean, you're doomed. So I hope you understand the point. That's the second thing you are to do if the land you want to buy has a land certificate. Now, the next thing you're doing if that land already has a land certificate is you're going to the field now to check if that land actually exists. As in, if somebody comes to meet you and tells you, oh, I'm selling the land here, I have a land in so and so place, and shows you ownership, blah blah blah, and says, give me money, let me transfer ownership to you, and you don't go to the field, you have nobody to blame if something comes up, right? So you have to go to the field to make sure, or to verify that whatsoever the person said is true. The person has to show you the pillars, the person has to, and you have to look as well the dimension. That's what you go to verify, because whatsoever is written in the certificate, in the land certificate that the person has, the dimension of the land is written there. So you have to go there to the field. You can go with your surveyor, you can go by yourself. If you're somebody who can, you know, do the math yourself, you can do, but you have to go there to verify that the land is available in the exact quantity that the person is claiming that the land is available. If the person tells you, oh, it's a 500 meter square piece of land, you have to go to the field and measure it out, just to make sure that you guys are on the same page, as in he's not cheating you, he's not saying something which is not there, or he's not, just to make sure that whatever he's saying there is legit and it's in the right quantity as per what is stated on paper, right? Now, once you have done that, once you have done your verification and you have confirmed that the dimension of the land is correct and is exactly the same thing as what is written on the paper which the seller is showing you, the next thing you're supposed to do, and this is where so many people falter. I've had a lot of people tell me like their experiences of buying lands and how it didn't work so well for them. And when I asked them, like, okay, you bought this piece of land and you said the person double dealed you, I'm like, okay, fine, the person double dealed you. Before paying that money, did you talk to any neighbor? And they're like, that's not part of it. I'm like, you see, that's where you guys fall short of the glory. I'm giving you guys now first-hand information. My subscribers, I love you guys. First-hand information. This is the step to avoid all the double dealings, right? You have to talk to the neighbors, because one, the seller will not think that you'll be interested in talking to the neighbors, because people want to buy land and are always interested in what they want, and that is fine. So you have to talk to the neighbors. If the plot of land has anybody who is walking by it or farming, or anybody who is staying by it, definitely that person will know your neighbor, right? I cannot come and occupy this space and I've been here for a while and I don't know who is next to me. So that's just what you're trying to do. You go and ask the neighbor, like, who do you know owns this plot of land next to you, just to find out that the person does not give you another name, a different name which is different from what you know, just to verify that, okay, this person is actually legit. Because trust me, a lot of people have fallen short at this stage because they did not find out from their neighbors something that would have saved them worth millions. Just finding out from their neighbors, they just put this step aside and be like, no, I've seen the land, it works, and I'm gonna pay the money, right? No, you're not gonna pay the money. You are not gonna pay the money just yet. You want to talk to the neighbors available there. At least two of those neighbors, the person on the right and the person on the left, or the person adjacent to the piece of land you want to buy. Whatever the case, you have to talk to at least two of those neighbors. Ask them, what do you think owns this plot? What do you think owns this plot? And if the two of them give you the same name of a person who owns that plot, then you know that you're on the right footing. And after you have asked the neighbor, the next thing you're supposed to do is to go to the chief of that area. Every locality has its chief and has its authorities, right? You have to go and meet the chief and find out from him as well. You have to go and meet the chief and find out from him as well who owns that piece of land, because the chief, that's under his locality, he knows the people who own land in every area. So you want to go to him and find out, oh, you wish to acquire a piece of land in so and so and so place. You want to find out who actually owns that place. And the chief, if he's being an honest person, is actually going to tell you, family members, please excuse if you can get the noise. It's raining. I mean, we're in the rainy season here in Cameroon and the rain has just started heavily. But I'm going to try to top up my voice with the cold, just so that the rain does not overshadow what I'm trying to say. But please just pay attention so that the rain should not distract us both. So yeah, you have to go and meet the chief and actually find out from them who owns that piece of land. And trust me, all these things I'm telling you, for the chief to actually verify who owns the piece of land, you're going to give him some money. Yeah, it's not going to be free. Just have that in mind. You're going to give him some money for him to go to the site, for him to go to the plot where you want to buy, and to actually confirm to you that, oh, the owner of this plot is this person, is this person, is this person. And family members, you can have some chiefs that are, crookery, or if your seller is being smart, if your seller is actually being smart or smarter than you, the seller, if he's trying to fraud you, right, he's going to meet the chief ahead of you, ahead of time, ahead of you, and arrange with the chief and tell the chief, oh, this person comes and asks you who has this piece of land, tell the person I'm the one. So you can go and ask the chief, and the chief will confirm to you that this person owns the piece of land, and then you pay your money. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months down the line, another person is claiming ownership of that same piece of land, and by the time you go back to the chief, there's nothing you can do, right? So yeah, this is the point where you want to be careful, because family members, not everybody is as honest as we think. Not everybody has good hearts as we think. Money can control people. I mean, money rules the world, right? So if I'm to give you any advice at this stage, I would say you should not tell your seller when you are ready to meet the chief, right? Because the seller will tell you, oh, when you're ready to meet the chief, tell me, let's go and meet the chief, so he confirms to you that this is the land. But family members, just tell the seller, I'm not ready. When I'm ready, I'm going to tell you. When I'm ready, I have the money, because definitely he's talking about the finances, because you have to buy the chief whiskey and you have to give him some cash for him to confirm to you. So just tell him you're not ready, but you now can go and meet the chief outside without the seller and ask him, just to be sure that the seller does not double crosses you and goes to the chief before you if the land has an issue. But if the land has no issue, trust me, you guys can even go there at the same time and the chief will confirm whatsoever he is to confirm. Now the next thing, after you have done all this stuff and you have confirmed that everything is legit, if the person who is selling the land to you looks a little bit young, you want to find out from him, like, how come you had possession of this land? Who is your family head? Because family members, I'm talking about based on, I mean, my father was regional delegate of state property and land tenure in Southwest region, so that's where I'm versed with, like, as in acquiring lands in the Southwest region. I don't know of other regions, but I know it works the same or almost the same, and I know how Bakuri families act. I know how Bakuri people act in general, so I can tell you for sure that you want to ask that person for the family head. You want to see the family head, just to make sure that he is not somebody that has just stolen some documents from the house and his head is hot and he needs money and he wants to sell it to you, and you're the scapegoat. You pay the money, later on the family comes and says, how could you buy our piece of land? We, the family, are not selling this land, and your money goes to waste. I mean, all that drama that happens, this is where you have to evade all that drama. You have to ask the seller, if this is a family land, right, please, can I see your family head? I want to talk to your family head. And if the person is legit, the person is going to take you to the family head. But if that person is not legit, the person just stole those documents and is trying to make some quick cash, the person is going to tell you, oh no, don't bother, the family is all in agreement of this. So you think that how did I get possession of this document if the family is not, the person is just going to try to just change your senses. But do not fall for that crap. Do not fall for it. Make sure you insist and stand your ground that you want to see the family head, and until you see the family head, do not make any payment. Do not give him a dime for anything until you have confirmed to the family head that whatever he is selling, the family is all in agreement of what he is selling. Now, after you have done all this stuff and you want to pay the money, do not pay the money alone, okay? In acquiring that land, take somebody who knows the place, and for your own safety, this one I'm telling you is for your own safety, the chief should be present while you are paying that money, okay? Do not go, no demarche, because I know how demarches act. They're always on so much pressure, that always put you under so much pressure to pay the money. No demarche should put you under pressure, right? Before you release out your millions of money, your sweat, as in all that, before you actually give it out to the person, make sure you have 2 witnesses, and those 2 witnesses I'm talking about is somebody who knows the place and the chief. Now, family members, I know you guys are going to say, oh, it's going to be a bit costly to actually pay the chief off for that, because it's a chief. Every time you need his services, you're going to pay him some money. But again, that money you're going to pay him is nothing compared to if you're to lose all your millions. You understand? If you're supposed to pay the chief like 30,000 francs just for his presence while you're buying the land, is nothing compared to if you go and buy a land of 6 million francs and you lose everything just because you're trying to be cautious over 130k that you do not want to pay the chief, you're trying to save it for yourself, and now you paid millions and now the money has gone to the drains. So that's what you don't want. So I will say, do not use oversense and go and be a fool. Okay, if you're to pay that money, you should, because that's some sort of security that you are gaining for yourself and the piece of land you are trying to acquire. Does that make any sense? I hope you guys can understand me, because I'm trying to break this down to as simple as possible, just so you understand what actually happens in the field. Now, the book is not going to tell you all this stuff. What we have in the books are not going to tell you all this stuff. This is just what happens in the field. So you should be aware. If you want to buy a piece of land, you should be aware that this is what you're going to experience in the field. All right. So having understood all that steps of how to go about before paying the money, I want to talk about the three main things that actually influence the price of the land, as in the actual money you pay for that land. There are three main things that actually influence that price. So now the first thing is location, the second thing is time, and the third thing is urgency. Those are the main factors that actually influence the price of a land. Now there are other factors that influence the price of a land, but because I don't want to make this video too long, I'm just going to shortlist it to the three main factors that influence how much you're going to pay for that piece of land. And the most important thing under these three factors is location. Now under location, we have accessibility. How accessible is the piece of land you want to buy? That is going to determine the price of the land. Just as any other thing, if you want to rent a house in the heart of a city, it will affect the price. And if you want to rent a house like in the suburbs, it's definitely going to affect the price. So as it is in land matters, if you want to acquire a piece of land which is easily accessible, definitely it's going to affect the piece of land. It's going to affect the price you pay on that land. Now under location as well, the quartier or the village where that piece of land is located also determines the price you're going to pay for that land. Because if the piece of land is located in because I'm in Limbe, right? Let me say I'm versed with Limbe and Boya, and all these places, we know that they are villages. Bakwe people, this is their land. I give it to you guys. This is your land. We're in your land. And so they have chiefs and they have various villages that make up this town. So wheresoever you want to purchase the land, the village matters. If you want to purchase a piece of land in a particular kind of village in Limbe, it's going to affect the price. And let me just put it short. Let me not get this video too complicated. Now the next thing on that location, which actually influences the price you're going to pay for a land, is the availability of utilities like electricity, water. If you're going to buy a piece of land in an area that already has these utilities, it's going to tell you in the price. Like your price is going to tell you. And if you're going to purchase a piece of land in an area which doesn't have electricity or light, like you're the first person coming there and you are the one to bring the light there, you're the one to do the connections with Camwater and Sonel or Enyo, Camwater and Enyo, if you're the one to do all the arrangements from them for them to bring you light and water to your place, definitely that's going to influence the price of the land. Because definitely this is just point I'm telling you, my subscribers, as the buyers, so you can have a strong argument when you're about buying that piece of land, so you actually pay for value. So this is something that you can use to tell the seller, no, I'm not going to pay you this exact money you're asking for. Why? Because this place doesn't have light and water. I still have to go to Sonel, I still have to go to Enyo and Camwater and pay them huge amounts of money and follow them up for them to bring these utilities to this area. So you are trying to bring forth your argument on why he should reduce the price, because you still have a lot to do to make that place home. I hope you understand. And the last thing on that location I'm going to talk about is the neighborhood. Now the neighborhood where the land is situated determines how much you're going to pay for it. If you want to buy a piece of land, right, if that land is located by a Pentecostal church or a school or a hospital or a mortuary, like those things are going to affect how much you pay for that piece of land. I might be somebody who does not want to stay by a Pentecostal church because I know that they always have prayer meetings, prayer sessions, and they make, let me not say loud noise, they pray at the top of their voices, and their drums are always so loud, their music are always so loud, they always speak in tongues with so much loud microphones. If you're the kind of person who is not called in for all of that, and you feel that you're not going to be comfortable staying or having that property, which that is the neighbor, you're going to have something to argue upon to determine the price of the piece of land. Or if you're the kind of person who says, nah, I don't want to stay by a school children are going to disturb me, I know how school children behave, because you have been there, you know that school children, they might be passing from school and they just see a house, they just start picking stones and shooting inside because they're trying to disturb you, or they cut off your flowers. Like, we know all those things that children do. If you're the kind of person who is not called out for it, and you be like, no, I'm going to suffer from these inconveniences because I'm purchasing this piece of land. So you're going to tell the seller, no, you have to take out something from that price because I'm going to suffer from these inconveniences. Because it's not like you can do anything about it, right? You cannot tell the school, like, pack your things and leave this area, I don't want you to be my neighbor. Or you cannot tell the Pentecostal church, or pack your things and leave this area, I don't want you to be my neighbor. They are already there, so you just have to learn to coexist with them. So this is just, I'm just giving you secrets here, how you can bring down the price of the land. You can put up an argument. So those are the factors on that location that actually determines how much you pay for a piece of land. I hope I'm being explicit here enough, because I'm really trying my best to be explicit so you guys can actually be on the safe side and get the picture. Okay, now the second thing that determines the price of the land is time. I told you guys three things. I told you guys location, and I've been discussing location, like I have expatiated location enough for you guys to understand. The second thing I'm going to talk about is time, the timing of when the land is being sold. Now, if you're buying a land in the dry season, as in November, December in Cameroon, then know that your prices are going to be up. Prices of everything during that period goes up, not only for occasion stuff, because people feel like, oh, prices go up only for dresses, shoes, occasions, because that's a festive period in Cameroon. No, that's not only the case. Prices of land as well go up during that period. Why? Because a lot of bushfallers are in the country that time, so the sellers of land know that this is their peak period. So a land that was supposed to normally cost maybe 6 million, they're going to sell it for more than that, because they know that if you don't want, I'm going to have a bushfaller who is around the country and he's going to pay me good money for that land, which you're not ready to pay me for, right? So if you want to buy a land and you want to go like on a budget or cheaper, definitely do not buy within that period. But now I'm going to like I'm giving out the sellers their trick, like I'm just taking their market away from them. But anyways, that factor on its own determines how much you pay for the land. The time which you buy the land determines how much you pay for it. If you want to buy land in the heart of dry rainy season, June, July, August, that period, the land is definitely going to be cheaper. The land is definitely going to be cheaper at that period. Because why? The sellers are not seeing the bushfallers who are coming to flash them with so much money. So that is an advantage for you. And then it is an added advantage for you, because during the rainy season you actually see what the land looks like. During the dry season, a seller can sell you a swampy place, like a place which is maritage. I don't know how can I put it in English. A place which is swampy, like you get the picture that when rain falls the water stands. There is no system of how the water flows out, as in it is, you cannot access the place during the rainy season. But in the dry season, you're not going to know that. You will not know this part, because everywhere is dry and you're going to pay so much money for that. And later on, when the rain starts and you discover that, you'll be like, but what have I gotten myself into? And you will be too late at that time, because you've already paid the money. The man has already chopped the money. There's nothing you can do. You just have to work on that piece of plot the way you see it. As in, you just have to look for a way. If you're gonna buy seawall, to fill it up to a level which you can do whatever you have to do, you will have to do it. So make sure that it's preferable that you buy during the rainy season, the heart of rainy season, so you actually see the land, and make sure that it's not a swampy area. The area when rain falls, water flows, flood cannot it's not, the possibility of flood happening there is low. Like, you consider all those stuff before you actually know the price to pay for that piece of land. And the last thing I'm going to talk about under what determines the price of a land is the urgency. Now, urgency now goes to both the seller and the buyer. How urgent does the seller need the money, and the buyer, how urgent do you need the piece of land? That's what's going to determine how much you're going to pay for that, right? If the seller has a very pressing problem and needs the money sharp or fast, ASAP, he's going to tell you, oh, I need just 5 million francs to solve this problem of mine. Like, this problem is coming to kill me, it's choking me. So if you can give me just 5 million for this piece of land, I'm gonna give you the land and take the money, right? Maybe that's a piece of land that on a normal basis you could get for maybe 7 million, but because the seller is in urgent need of money, he's gonna bring it down to that price just so you give him the money for him to solve his pressing problem at the time. And also on the part of the buyer, urgency can be something that, how urgent do you need the land for? For example, maybe you are working on a time, you're soon going on retirement, and you have been staying in a government house, and maybe you plan on building your house, and you have just 1 year to start building that house and finish it, and for your family to move into that house before your retirement date comes and you're kicked out of the government house, right? So that now has really put you under pressure. So you are going to buy that land under pressure because you know that I have to get this land, I have to start work, like work has to start on this piece of land immediately. So that as well is going to determine how much you're going to pay the seller for that piece of land. If the seller will tell you, no, this piece of land is 7 million, I'm not going any less, nothing, I'm not removing anything from there, and you're in dying need of that piece of land because you love the location, you love how it is, like you love everything about the piece of land, you don't have time on your hands to go searching for another piece of land that suits your specifications as per what you want to buy. So you're going to go ahead to pay that 7 million. Meanwhile, if you were not in a rush to acquire a piece of land, maybe you would have gotten a piece of land that is actually cheaper than that and still gives you the same advantages which that piece of land gives you. Family members, I felt like I was in a sermon. I've spoken so much. I feel like this video is really super long, so I'm going to cut it here, and I did not think this part was going to be long, so I'm going to stop here, and part 2 is going to be now the actual procedure to getting this land certificate. So thank you for watching till this point. Hope you enjoy it, and see you in part 2. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, hit the post notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and share this video. I know it's gonna help you guys. It's gonna help your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your friend, whatever the case. It's gonna help somebody. If you don't have money to purchase the land now, just share the video and watch it for information's sake, right? No knowledge is wasted knowledge. No knowledge is wasted knowledge. So share this video with anybody. You never can tell who it might save. Okay, I'm gonna see you in part 2. Bye.